Good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to the Council of One's Babylon 5 review. And as always, I am your host, the Ambassador. And with me today, I've got my other council members, Mountains of Elysium and Fiona Wolf. Today we are going to be breaking down the episode Messages from Earth. And to everyone that is popping into the chat, Bureau 31, I know you are in here, and I know there are a few others that'll probably be popping in a little bit, but thank you all for being here this afternoon, and hope you all enjoy the stream. And as always, make sure you smash that like. Make sure you hit that, share this out with all your fellow sci-fi and Babylon 5 friends, and tell them that, like, hey, there's something else besides the Snyder Cut going on in the world. So, Elysium, Fiona, how are you both doing?
Pretty
and
good.
Happy, and just real quick, happy belated St. Patrick's Day.
'Twas good crack.
Yes, the corned beef is excellent.
For me, it was roast bacon.
Bacon!
Bacon. And, of course, you bring up bacon, and, of course, we have a somewhat comedic scene to kick off this episode. With Commander Susan Ivanova getting bacon and eggs for breakfast from her. Say again, Elysium?
No, I was about to say it, almost a full Irish breakfast. Just needed sausages and pudding. And some mushrooms, and that would have been spot on.
Yeah, just leave off the beans. I hate beans. Beans are
pudding,
nasty.
huh?
Yeah. Yes.
That's different. Pudding.
I was just thinking, while Marcus was able to get her bacon and eggs, he was all out of bubblegum later when he was kicking ass.
Yes.
Very
yes. True. And yeah, we get to see the full gamut of Mr. Marcus Cole's abilities and personality in this episode. In one moment, he's getting his lady love breakfast. In another moment, he's kicking the ever-loving crap out of a bunch of goons with his Minbari fighting pike. And in another moment, he's trying to make her laugh. Did you know my nose is on fire? Did you know that there's a dragon eating the sun?
Ouch. But no, I think, you know what? I think Marcus was protecting that doctor from Psy Corps agents, possibly.
Wouldn't surprise me if they were goons for the Psy Corps. I mean, let's be candid here. When it comes to goons, the Psy Corps has them by the bushel. Wouldn't be surprised if the Psy Corps has a secret goon cloning facility. Hey, it could happen. There could be cloning in Babylon 5. You don't
What's
know.
funny about this episode, though, is you can actually see Garibaldi's depiction of these same events in that the short four-part comic book series, The Shadows of Past and Present. If you can manage to get some online copies. Because I know some people put some of the Babylon 5 comics online. Just because they won't reprint them. So,
yeah, indeed. So, and this honestly is, I think, by far for a lot of people a favorite episode because it does build up to the war against Clark, and it also is built up a little bit for the war against the Shadows. It does have a part to play there because we see two of the Shadow vessels that were buried on Mars by the Shadows in the Wayback When. To quote a famous doctor, "They're alive! They're alive!" Sorry, my Dr. Victor Frankenstein's not particularly good. I'm not Bavarian, and I'm not German, nor am I English, because, well, Colin Clive was English. So, sue me!
And they clearly
werewolf! Oh,
what have I done?
Yes. But no, like my favorite part though is probably Sheridan and Delenn learning stuff from each other. Like, yes, form a jump gate inside Jupiter's atmosphere. Go for it. Wait, wasn't that called the bonehead maneuver? Like, sorry. Yes.
I don't usually use these on this stream. I try to keep things calm, but all I can say is, or maybe this would be more appropriate. Right.
I think Danny Glover said it another way.
Who?
Danny Glover?
Yeah, Danny Glover. Yeah, Lethal Weapon. Yeah. But Obi-Wan Kenobi's pretty good too. So, but yeah, honestly, this episode, the title is Messages from Earth, and we get a lot of news briefs through ISN from that one reporter, and the episode even ends with a message from Earth. So the theme and the title tracks, and honestly, I know some people may say, this is just a filler episode. This is not a filler episode. There is no such thing as filler in Babylon 5. It is all quality, no filler.
Well, this honestly kickstarts the super speed that basically season 3 goes at from this point forward.
I would. Go ahead, Elysium.
So, I said you can really see, what Fiona mentioned about the jump point inside the atmosphere, how both Sheridan and Delenn work with each other where they hit brick walls. You can see that Delenn has a feeling we might be able to do something, but Sheridan has total confidence, and you see in her look when she looks at him like, oh my God, we actually have a hope. Because she sees him taking command and taking on the shadow. And then when his old ship comes and he has no hope, she jumps, stands on his shoulders and goes, okay, let's do something crazy. Jump point. Let's go.
Yeah, because he didn't want to take out his old ship.
No, and I cannot blame him for that. And, I'll say this. Lanier's response to her is, I've always been fascinated by your tactical decisions, but this is different. and technically, Fiona, the bonehead maneuver was opening a jump point inside of another jump point. This was something completely different. I would call this. How would I categorize this? I would call this the Sheridan Delenn maneuver.
They actually use it later when they go back to retake Earth, jumping into Mars's atmosphere with the white stars.
Yep. Totally. And it works. And no one dies. And then there was indeed much rejoicing. Yay! So, but yeah, the other part of this episode is, of course, the whole thing with Dr. Kirkish and that whole situation. You've got, like we mentioned, you've got Marcus fighting off all those goons.
Yeah, and he does pretty well.
Yeah, and he kicks some serious ass.
That, and you know what the sad thing is they might just wanted to capture her at first to see who else she interacts with, so that way they can go off and kill those people too. They probably wanted to do that. It's like, oof.
Well, and the interesting thing about this episode is it's part of the story is told through flashback, and I will say sometimes doing stuff in through a flashback sequence can be kind of tricky, but in this instance it works perfectly. I mean, you've got the woman who. Now, I will be honest with you all. When I first watched this episode way back when, I thought that was Amanda Tapping from Stargate SG-1. And
she looks kind of like that.
Yeah, a little bit, but then I realized, wait a minute, no, that's not her. That's a different actress entirely. And I was like, So, and I'll bring up Bureau 31's comment here. My opinion of this episode and the two following ones can be best described with the Vince McMahon reaction meme. I'm not sure which meme that would be, Bureau 31, but if y'all, by all means, share, because honestly, I think it would
I
depend
think
on
that's the one with glowing eyes. I think.
That's a possibility. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Like I said, if you can describe it, Bureau 31, by all means, do so, and so we get some frame of reference, please. But yeah, honestly, telling anything through flashback sequence can be tricky, but they pull it off well here, and that's partially due to the directing by Michael Viger or Vijar, however way you pronounce the name, and it really tells you just how insidious an organization like Interplanetary Expeditions really is. So, just saying.
Well, the frontline people, like Sheridan's former wife, they probably are just there because they want to explore, but the underpinning financiers are probably third-party Psy Corps crap, because even in the Shadow Within book, they sent 2 Psychops, rated P-12, with Anna's ship. It didn't end well for them.
Not particularly. No, they all got blowed up except for Mr. Morden. So.
And Anna. But then again, Anna was used as parts instead. And once they realized who they had, they're like, "Oh, let's go offer Sheridan a oopsie daisy."
And the really cool thing about this is, I want to ask y'all a question about all those news reports that start coming through their errant spurs throughout the episode. What was y'all's take on those? You think that was a good plot device? Do you thought it was kind of a sketchy plot device, or what? Does it really build the stakes and give you a sense of what's going on back home outside on Earth outside of B5? Or
yeah, I think so. Just because how when the real news anchors got to come back on the air after they liberated Earth, it's like, sorry, we're gone for a very long time. Yeah, you got a sense that they were already being threatened even before Clark did his big overt maneuvers. So,
well, and it almost gives you the sense that the ISN is being turned into essentially a propaganda arm for Clark in a lot of ways. Even before the Clark does his thing and he has his troops storm the ISN building there in Geneva. So this I think the anchor woman who we see throughout the episode tries to be fairly balanced without coming off as too antagonistic or anything. But at the same time, I think she knows what's really going on and she does not approve. Alicia and Finn, your comments, your thoughts on that?
I think it's, I know in a few episodes, there is the slimy reporter who comes on board and twists everything, and he says, we have to work within what we have. He's basically describing the situation the good journalists are in at the moment. You see them, many of them want to say something but can't.
Yeah, which is why
I've never...
Yeah. Yep. Sorry, keep going.
No, I was just about to say that I should really listen back, or we should listen back to the news broadcast to see, is there anything dropped in where they're trying to tell people something, and see, is there anything, or are they going along with the party line? Because I know in the next episode, the journalist says, "Yeah, I've been quiet long enough. We need to speak out."
Yeah, things I can't say, but that we've been told not to say, but has been happening basically with Mars and other things. But no, the more slimy guy from season 4, he was able to get the one true fact out about Sheridan's dad that was on the run. But they both knew that they would get kind of panned, intelligence wise, because they knew it was going to be a hit piece. But they did it anyway, because in the end it gave them something valuable. So, the news can be either a good boon or a really bad enemy, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, that is true. That's I don't want to get into a whole bunch of stuff with the current climate and everything, but that's true even nowadays. So, I will say honestly, um, for me, the episode was very well balanced. I mean, I know we have a lot of build up to them going to Earth and the White Star to take out that ship, that shadow vessel there on Ganymede. Now, okay, I may look like a complete and total idiot when I say this, but is Ganymede one of the moons of Mars?
Jupiter.
Jupiter. Kind of like Io's
Oh,
one of the.
oh, okay, Jupiter. Okay, I couldn't remember honestly. I know Mars has like one or two moons, but I couldn't remember if Ganymede was Mars or Jupiter. So, okay, all right.
No, Mars has like Phobos and Demios, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. So, all right. Thanks for that clarification. Appreciate it. But yeah,
Um,
honestly, yeah. Go ahead, Elysium.
so no, as I mentioned, I think the incident on Mars that Garibaldi talks about, that's where he first met Sinclair. I know that that's
Mm-hmm.
in his backstory, and I all did wonder why didn't Garibaldi mention something before that he'd seen something like this. That's something, honestly, that's one thing that I don't know a reason for.
Well, it could be any number of things. It could have been something that was so disturbing that he didn't really want to bring it up again. He could have had a similar experience that Kirkish did, where it just, when you heard it scream, it was like something just right through you, and that could be the case here. It was something so disturbing he didn't want to mention it again, just because it might bring up that memory. I mean, if you think about it, having an experience with something so horrific and so monstrous that just it touches your soul and gives you like an extreme case of someone walks over your grave and you have that chill that just goes up your spine. I think that could have been the case for Garibaldi, because if you look at his expression during that whole conference with Kirkish, with the rest of the War Council, and Kirkish is talking about it, you can almost get a sense of when she says that when that ship passed over. I just had a very, to paraphrase, I had a very bad experience that affected me on a very deep psychological level. I mean, we get the okay. If y'all remember when she's talking about when they dug up one of the shadow vessels and somebody just foolishly touched it and it just killed them, sucked the life right out of them, as she said. You get the impression that a shadow vessel, even when it's inert, if it can do something like that, just suck the life out of somebody, imagine when you're in the vicinity of it. I mean, I think we've mentioned that they use psychics to as a central processing unit for shadow vessels.
Yeah,
I
they
think
prefer them, but they also can stick normal people in, like Anna.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the vessels themselves seem like they're almost just by their design. They have very
Parasitic.
Okay, I'll bring us something we talked about last night. They almost have a very Lovecraftian feel to them. Like they're like this is something that you don't even want to be in the vicinity of, that it will affect you psychologically. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I always got the feeling they're like a cross between the Nazgul and the Borg. Just
That's not a
something
bad.
beyond horrific.
That's not a bad. That's not a bad
Well,
parallel there, Elysium. Yeah.
yep, that, and if you do read Shadow Within, it showcases that the ship's processing does take you over. You become a part of the ship. There's not really any you anymore. And even when Franklin's doing stuff for those sleeper agents or something that were prepped for it, the parts that they put inside your brain basically erase your personality. You have the memories and everything, but what made you is gone.
Yeah, totally. And she Delenn brings this up, has brought this up previously, or I think she does bring it up in this episode. If the insertion of the person doesn't go right, the ship itself can go insane, which in turn means that the person has gone insane. I mean, what the shadows do to people when they process them to be the operating unit for one of their ships is monstrous. I mean, it's almost like a perversion of it's almost like a perversion of life, a corruption of a person's being, their very soul. And I'll bring up Beer 31's question here, because that's actually not a bad one. Do you think the scream comes from the horror the shadow vessel's operator experiences? Fiona, Elysium, what do y'all think?
I'd say, yeah, that it's from somewhere in deep within anyway. That it's the sound is very similar to the Nazgul.
Mm-hmm.
In it, that it's just a horror, but the Nazgul, it's evil. The scream itself, yeah, I do think BR31 is onto something, that it's unable.
The organic part, like again, Anna describes what it's like shooting stuff within a ship near the end of that book, and the scream is them, basically having an experience inside the ship if they meld with it properly. It's creepy. Mm-hmm. Creepy.
Very. And honestly, for me, I couldn't even imagine what it'd be like to be inserted into that ship, or a ship like that. And I don't even think I want to know how the shadows create their ships, honestly. I mean, they look like something that is obviously organic, like some sort of organic technology, kind of like with the Vorlons, what they do. But it's very unsettling. I mean, the first time we ever see a shadow vessel, I think, is back in season 1, actually, if I remember correctly. I mean, it's been a little bit, but I'm pretty sure it's in season 1 where we see our first shadow vessel, and you're like, holy freaking crap. This thing just is terrifying. Absolutely, positively terrifying. And you're like, I want to run away from this thing as fast as I possibly can. And here we have, once again, Sheridan and Delenn and the crew of the White Star confronting one of them. And once again, they have to use their ingenuity and defensive, some very creative tactical ideas to destroy a shadow vessel. I mean, they essentially crush it within the gravity well of Jupiter. So.
Yeah, and the shadows like to use organic components like that because it makes the ships more ferocious and everything, and they're able to think on their feet a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like okay, I think this is actually not a bad thing, a bad example. If you remember, there's a scene in Iron Man 2 where Rhodey, or Rhodes, Jim Rhodes, is talking to a group of pilots, and they're talking about removing human pilots from ships. No, that's actually in the first Iron Man. I stand corrected. And they're talking about replacing human pilots with computers. And Rhodes makes the statement that human instinct and ability and capability can never be something that's programmed. And I think the Shadows hit upon something when they were designing their ships. They were like, we need something that can adapt and can change and has the reflexes, or the heightened reflexes, of an actual being rather than some sort of computer. And I think in terms of the design of the shadow vessels, their capital ships especially, they realize this. that a computer, no matter how good it is, even an artificial intelligence device, cannot match human instinct and reflexes and, of course, memory. Because an AI does not have memory per se. It has data, but you can recall previous engagements that you've been in and what worked, and I think especially the creative aspect of the human mind, or just we'll just stick to the creativity of the human mind is something that cannot be replicated technologically, at least yet. And I think the shadow vessels are a very prime example of that. So, Elysium, Fiona, your thoughts on anything I just brought up?
No, I think, I was getting the impression, like from Battlestar Galactica, the episode Scar, where that AI, it learns as it dies and becomes more enraged and more enraged. And I'm getting the kind of feeling from the shadow vessel that while it's not killed, its actions, the fury, all that's left maybe is rage within. And being able to think then that focuses, like the earlier episode, the Lazarus Project, where they keep someone focused on the moment of their death, so they're able to control and think and use them as a machine. And I think the shadow vessel is that ramped up, dialed up to 11.
Yeah. I think that was back in season 1 on and everything with that episode you just mentioned, Elysium. So, yeah, very true. I mean, it almost gives you the impression that maybe Psy Corps was trying to create people that could be inserted into kind of the same dynamic where you insert a person that's been technologically enhanced or altered to where they can be the central processor for a ship. Maybe that's what. That was another project that was going on with that organization that was supposed to be attached to Psy Corps. And then, of course, in I think it's later on season 4, where we see those Earth Force capital ships that have been grafted with shadow technology.
Yep.
Maybe the technologically enhanced or altered individuals were supposed to be some sort of central processing unit, almost a mirror of what the shadows have done. Except they didn't quite get there. They still had to have a human crew man the ships.
Yep, I'm just trying to remember. I think Claudia Christian wanted to write a story, or she did, with Mongoose Publishing, where Ivanova came back to the station with one of those new ships of the line, but they disguised it even further, and the dumb thing still had shadow tech in it. So she had to get Sheridan to help her get rid of the shadow tech inside the vessel because it was going to go schizoid. So it's like, oh god, ew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much. Maybe like was it season 1 episode Infection? Humans, I think, Earth Force have long been trying to pursue a blend of organic technology, and that may be their fascination with the shadows. And I do get the impression that it's not just Psy Corps are building it, it's people like Edgar's, people who are trying to create humans who can fight Psy Corps. So it's not just, but it just happened that Psy Corps infiltrated and took over the project. And that's the impression I got.
Yeah, and Bester really hated it when his main squeeze on the side got recruited too, because she's a blip. Oopsie!
Yeah, very astute observation there, Elysium and Fiona. And you know the thing I will say, we do get a couple of really neat scenes with both with Ivanova and Marcus, and also with Sheridan and Delenn, particularly there on the White Star. And Lanier's like, you need to get some sleep or you're not going to be able to function right. And Sheridan's like, all right, fine, I'll go take a nap.
You have a very persistent attaché.
Yes, yeah. And they have that scene there in the sleeping quarters on the White Star. And he's like, I have not been able to figure out how to sleep on these blasted things. And she's like,
Abominable warned me.
Yeah. Yep, pretty much. And honestly, I love that moment where she tells the ship's computer to simulate the sound of rain on just to simulate the sound of rain. And he looks over and he's like, you get me. And I love that.
And funny enough, I looked at some of the notes, and Delenn considered this like the second of 3 nights of watching someone, watching your potential squeeze, relax or whatever to show their true face, even though Sheridan didn't realize it at the time.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because they're about to go into combat, and what better way to see how a person's going to react to something than see them sleep on the eve of battle, really. And I love the story that he tells about his dad going out and getting a hose and running it onto the roof of their house, and it finally puts him to sleep. And it goes to show we may advance the technology, but still the simple things in life they still persist. They still exist in the future, and I love that. I love the relationship, even though we don't get to see a lot of it, between Sheridan and his father, and it's really heartwarming, honestly. And I love the actor who portrays his father, the older gentleman. I forget his name off the top of my head.
Well, they didn't even. I think only Sheridan's parents were on screen for a split second when that one alien was trying to get back to the forbidden sector. But even the few mentions of his mom lets you know that he has parents that do love him very much.
Yeah, very true. So, and I'll bring up Beer 31's comment here. I will watch and catch you if you follow. The Soul Hunter tells that to Delenn in the episode. Yeah, the Soul Hunter back all the way back in season 1. Yeah, and I think that's a very good. Line, a very good carry through. And I'll bring up your comment here, Elysium. Sheridan dreams of home rather than killing the enemy. Says a lot about him. Yeah, it totally does. I mean, Sheridan, yes, he is a warrior, but he's fighting for something greater, and that the greater thing is home. He's not fighting for power. He's not fighting for acclaim or for glory. He's fighting for home, for the people he cares about. And that, of course, is his family. And Delenn eventually becomes a part of that. And, even you see it even after they destroy the Shadow Vessel, and they're there in the atmosphere of Jupiter. And he's like, why did it have to be the Agamemnon? Why did it have to be my ship?
And it turns out it's good he didn't shoot his own ship, because they come back to save his bacon later a couple of times.
Yes, very true. That is the awesome thing, Every choice has a consequence in this series, and you often see the outcome of that decision. And let's be honest here. More than likely, the White Star could have destroyed the Agamemnon, and that would have been a great shame, because then Sheridan wouldn't have had the opportunity to lead the charge for home during the war against Clark.
Well, that, and he set the stuff up to where the Earth Force ships would only be disabled. The ones that were fighting for Clark out of a sense of like fear or whatnot. So by choosing to do that, the lead ship, from the other side, was able to come in and help save them with that final death run. So,
yeah, exactly. And the other thing that I find of interest is the fact and I'm backtracking a little bit, just heads up. I love the fact that the Minbari are willing to give Kirkish shelter, give her a way out so that she doesn't get killed. I mean, yeah, she says, "I don't care if someone kills me now. I've said what I needed to say. I can go to my grave with a clear mind." But the Lens, no, like, no. We'll get you out. We'll get you clear, and we can assume that they obviously do, and the woman survives. So, I imagine. I can imagine them putting her on some ranger outpost somewhere in Minbari space where she's safe and protected, and she lives to a good old age. So who knows? Maybe as a scientist, she goes on to do some work of some kind during the Shadow War or whatever the case may be, and everything. And maybe she even becomes a part of the Rangers. Possibly, that's a possibility too. She may not fight on the front lines, but she's got a good mind. They could probably use her for something.
Yep. And actually, I like the fact that even in this episode, the reason, when Delenn and Sheridan are teaming up with stuff, she actually uses that against the Drakh later. Basically helping Lanier to, like, hey, Lanier, program this in there so we can outmaneuver the Drakh. So,
yeah, exactly. And I think the other interesting point about this episode is the fact that, okay, I want to kind of dig into the whole issue with Night Watch and Zach trying to be pragmatic about everything, but the other officer is like, nope, we're not being pragmatic. We're going after everybody that we have a beef against. And you see, we're going to be digging into everybody's background. We're going to be going through emails, and it's amazing. Even in 2260, email is still such a thing. Past affiliations, family history, it's a whole big deal. And I'm like, geez, Louise, can you say communist or a certain otherist of behavior, for crying out loud? I mean, the Night Watch essentially is a futuristic version of the KGB, or something else that has to do with the former USSR. Just saying. Liam, any your comments on any of that?
No, I found it interesting that I think I was listening to Lowrunner's review on it. They mentioned the actor who plays the god figure, who believes himself is was it Vaughn Williams, who plays a fatherly figure, always like a nice guy. And he's never given a name in the series. He's always security guard number 1. So that kind of says that this could be anyone. This could be a communist, a certain political party popular in Germany in the mid-30s, or those kind of ilk. This can come from right, from left. This sort of thinking where you're going, the enemy is within. They become the Ankarans. So I think we were mentioning earlier about the shadows who became such a purity spiral. They killed everyone. And Night Watch is the first kind of circling of the bowl, or second or third.
Yeah, I would very much agree with that. And Bureau 31, I actually forgot that Emerald Forest, and I think that was actually from the Shadow, the Mirror Universe 2-parter in Enterprise, where Vaughn Armstrong plays Emerald Forest. I could be wrong. If I'm thinking of if I'm thinking of a different episode, please correct me. It's been a while since I watched Enterprise, so.
Yeah, the biggest thing I remember about Enterprise is the Beagle. I remember the Beagle. If that's the Enterprise you're talking about?
Portos. I didn't like Enterprise the first season or two. It wasn't great. It started to become good in season 3, and season 4 was really, really good.
Mm-hmm. I never really got into Enterprise. I mean, I watched a few episodes here and there, but what I saw, I liked for the most part, or anything. But I guess I just kind of gotten tuned out of Star Trek to a certain degree. So it's not that I disliked Enterprise. I just didn't watch a whole lot of it. So I didn't grow an appreciation for it. So, but yeah, that one comment that the other security officer makes, you think when he makes that comment, it kind of makes you feel like God just sitting here watching him on, and Zach's looking at him like, dude, we're security officers, not God or gods or anything like that.
Yeah, and you'll see more of that later when Zach is like, "Why do we have to report every little thing? He wasn't doing anything wrong." And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
do 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 do.
Yeah, Twilight Zone.
Oh no, Zach, you're in a bad way, my man.
Yeah, Zach, it's time to. And you even at the end of the episode when he's talking to the officer, and he looks at his arm, he looks at that Night Watch armband, and he's like, "What the hell have I gotten myself into?"
A whole heap of trouble. That's what you got yourself into, Mr. Zach. Over a little bit of more money. Oh no.
Yeah, an extra 50 extra 50 credits a week, and I'm having to sell out anything and everybody, and Garibaldi no longer trusts me, and he doesn't want me around, and I've sold my soul for 50 extra credits, or 30 pieces of silver. Sorry if that's a little bit on the nose, but I think it's apropos here. So.
Yes, we're going to make it seem harmless. We're just paying you extra money to report things. And it's like, and then they'll all suddenly look at Zach like he's in an episode or in that movie Them. It's like, he's not one of us. Oh God.
I just think it's funny that Zach kind of looks at it as many people would. My God, these people are paying me an extra. I think I worked at $136 extra a week to do my job. He didn't see the darker elements where someone could take it. And I think a lot of people in that room with Zach are thinking the same way. And then suddenly it becomes one step. Report on them for saying bad things about the president.
Mm-hmm.
Report on them for saying anything that doesn't agree with us. We don't say report on anyone who isn't exactly lockstep with us.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, kind of reminds me of, who was it? The blonde lady with Sheridan that one time, where Sheridan's like, "How's the population stuff back home? You know, the homeless." And she's like, "Oh, we don't have homeless. What are you talking about?"
Yeah, Masante. It was just like a couple episodes previous to this one, where Yvonne was plugged into the Great Machine on Epsilon 3. So yeah.
It's like she was perky, and Ivana was like, "Yes, you're about to go wherever everybody's gone before." And Sharon's like, "Oh shit! Oh no! No!
Yeah,
no.
Exactly.
No!"
Yeah. Like, yeah.
And what's even funnier, Zach is trying to get in her pants a little bit, but it's not working.
Nope. He doesn't have any clout. He's not the captain.
Yeah.
You're just a security guard. Go away.
Oh man.
You're not getting anywhere near me. Go away.
Be gone, thought. Oh no.
Mm.
Ah.
So.
Man, this just proves that all these episodes tie into each other at least a little bit here and there, so you can see where things just are very well put together.
Oh yeah.
So
totally. Yes. So. Well, Elysium, Fiona, any other thoughts about this episode? Anything we haven't touched upon that you want to hit?
Let's see, Ivanova asking Marcus where he fits in, and he showcases
yes.
he showcases the whole chart. There's my mom and
Yes.
dad. They're not relevant, but that's okay. There's you at
Yes.
the heart of everything.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you
that
for bringing that up,
Babylon 5 is the Ottoman Empire.
yes. Yeah, I'm glad you actually brought that up because I did want to touch on that scene where she's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to do. And I, damn it, I need somebody to blame. And you're the closest thing I've got. When she's like, I'm sitting here doing nothing. I'm completely and totally powerless. And she's like, I have no one else to blame because Sheridan was going to go do this anyway, and I'm not there with him. I'm stuck on this blasted station. And she's like, I need someone to blame, and Marcus, you're my whipping boy right now.
And he turns around and makes her laugh instead, because that's what he wanted to set out to do.
Yes.
Because the man is a gallant unicorn.
Okay.
Well, because she made a joke with him about unicorns and all that stuff, and then later on, sadly, she was saying, I should have boffed him once, And it's like, oh, man, he was saving himself.
Yes. Yeah, totally. I get that. I get that joke now. Good job, Olivia. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. He's like, did I make you laugh? She's like, yes. Blast you. You did. You made me laugh. You got my mind off things, and I hate you for it because I'd rather be mad.
Well, she's also Russian and fairly pessimistic, but there's moments where she's a lot more hopeful. It's just a yin-yang.
Yes, very true. Very, very true. I would agree. And, we all have those moments like Ivanova does in this episode when we feel completely out of... Hold on 1 second. Cat's being stupid.
Meow, 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 meow. I guess the cat wants to invade the channel and cause havoc. There you go. Good
something
kittens.
Like that, yes.
Good kittens. Create havoc. Bye. That's how cats act.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, what is the line I was told? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
That dogs, he kind of look at you and says, you feed me, you keep me safe, you give me a home, you must be a god. Or cats look at you, you feed me, you keep me safe, you give me a home, I must be a god.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Could you imagine Ivanova having a cat? That would have been hysterical.
No, there can't be two gods in the one room. Ivanova would be the last person.
Although Delenn does make mention that there's things called gawks that make people laugh on Minbar, and they service the same kind of thing as cats do when Sheridan's making that joke. And it's even brought up later with Sleeping in the Light, even though Sheridan's trying to make everybody laugh, but you can tell Delenn's just like absolutely devastated. It's like, oh.
Holy crap! The cat's sitting on the other part of the sectional, giving me this look like, Dad, I hate you. I know I'm being talked. I know I'm being talked about. I'm serious. If I could turn my camera where you all could see my cat, and he's okay. He looked away. I guess I made him uncomfortable. Oh goodness! Oh man. Okay. Yeah. I think God put cats on this world to make us not take ourselves too seriously. Of course, that could be true of dogs as well. Oh, goodness. We started off talking about Babylon 5. We end the stream. We're going to be wrapping up talking about cats.
Oh, dear.
Oh, goodness. So.
Honestly, more science fiction should have animals attached to it.
Yes.
That's just my biased opinion.
No, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. I think they...
No, go ahead, Ambassador.
No, go ahead, Elysium, please.
No, I was just thinking that there was one more scene that was missed as Jakar beginning writing his book. where
Oh,
Garibaldi goes to
yes.
visit him, and he
Oh,
says,
dang it. Yeah, we almost forgot about that part. Darn it. Yeah. When
And he's like all
Garibaldi.
mysterious when it's ready.
Yes. And Garibaldi goes in and he's like, well, how are things going? He's like, I wish, man, I completely forgot about that part and I feel bad about it because that's such a great scene between Garibaldi and Jakar. And he's talking, he's like, in solitude, you can't hide from yourself. There's nothing to distract you. It's just you and yourself. And I love that whole scene when, and Jakar asks Garibaldi, how are you coming along with the Book of Shaquan? He's like, I wish there was a translation. He's like, no, sacrilege.
Mother tongue.
Yeah, it
Or
must be
not at
read.
all.
It must be read in the mother tongue or none at all. And you
Oh,
would think. Go ahead, Fiona.
I almost forgot the voting about his singing voice. Are you torturing him in there?
Yes. Oh man, that is a great little comedic scene right there. Yeah, when he's like, "There's a petition going around to have you stop singing." Like the other prisoners or the guards are going, Geneva Convention, Geneva Convention.
Marcus and him could have had a great duet.
Oh, yes.
It's too bad there wasn't more scenes with them together. I know they were together a fair amount with the search for Mr. Garibaldi, whatever happened to Mr. Garibaldi. But yeah, they didn't really get to play off each other too much.
Yeah, unfortunately, that would have been awesome to see that. Yes.
And I like how Jakar puts on his hat to get the sense of Mr. Garibaldi.
Oh, yeah, the fedora. I love that fedora. Although I like my fedora just as well, but yes, totally. And Jakar, he is going towards his ultimate form, warrior poet Jakar.
And it's actually, I just wanted to mention, it kind of mirrors how Londo's relationship with Garibaldi kind of sputtered out, but his relationship with Jakar developed. It went in opposite directions with both guys.
Yes, I would wholeheartedly agree with you. Totally. Yeah, because Jakar's journey is just it's one of my favorite parts about the whole series. And it's beautiful to see a character like Jakar go from just kind of your run-of-the-mill antagonist to a character that you really like, you really respect, and to see them become something truly extraordinary. And he's taking this time in solitude in his incarceration to do some soul searching. And I think that's an awesome thing. I really do. And I do want to mention one thing. I don't know if any of you picked up on this. You may not have because not everybody's had some of the education I had. When you see Jakar writing on that parchment with that pen, he's actually, I'd have to go back and check it out to see what it actually might say, but he's actually writing in ancient Hebrew. Huh. That is the Hebrew alphabet that he is writing in. I recognize the markings. The only thing is I didn't see any vowel marks, so I'd have to double check it, but I'm pretty sure.
Yep. And he's writing right to left.
And yes, that's the other thing. He is writing from right to left. Now, it could be that is another type of Middle Eastern or Semitic script that he's writing in, but it bears a very strong resemblance looking at the shape of some of the letters that he's writing in. It is, in fact, ancient Hebrew, or just Hebrew, at least. And I thought that was very cool.
That is actually interesting. I hadn't thought about it because it's kind of JMS gets a lot of inspiration from Lord of the Rings, and I'd recently listened to an interview from Tolkien where he says the dwarves are a mixture of the Jewish people and the Vikings or the Nordics. And I get a similar feeling now once that you just mentioned that off the Narn. They're pretty much almost a stand-in for the Jewish people who are raised high like with King David and then are smashed down by Rome or by other empires, only to rebuild, and they become in many ways, almost a salvation, because they're the ones who help humans win the victory. They're the ones it's by grafting onto the Narn's ability to survive, to fight, to be, that basically the galaxy is saved.
Yes.
And they're a parallel for salvation. And that
Yeah.
from an atheist is wonderfully written.
Yeah. I would always, if I ever had the opportunity to ask Straczynski one thing, I would ask him, were you once a person of faith and you decided to turn your back on it because of something that happened, or have you always been an atheist? Because for a person who is an atheist,
I think he might answer some of that in his Becoming Superman memoir, which is read by Peter Jerzyk. I haven't gotten through the whole thing yet, though.
Mm-hmm. But I would, if I ever had the opportunity to ask Straczynski one question, they would be that, were you once a person of faith and something happened? Because for a person that is an atheist, you pay such respect to different types of theological belief, whether it's Christian or Hebrew or not Hebrew, but Jewish or maybe even Islamic or whatever the case may be. Did something happen in your past that made you turn your back on theological belief? And if so, what? And would there ever be a way for you to come back? If you decided to. I mean, I wouldn't try and push it on him, but I would just say, what would it take? What would it take for you to come back to whatever theological belief you once had? But that's just me.
I think maybe he's putting some of himself into Sheridan, because he mentions I'm open, I'm eclectic, and then that is where the religious person, was it Brother Theo, says to him, "Yeah, you're tossed by the wind, you're rudderless, you're that when they were crap talking each other over the game of chess." I think there's a lot of Straczynski's outlook on life mixed in with Sheridan and Delenn.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be surprised if a bit of him is in all the characters. That's how I feel about doing things when I'm writing stuff. It's like there's a little bit of me in all of them. You can't really avoid it. You just have to give them different drives and outlooks on certain things to kind of differentiate them from yourself.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true. So, and BR31, I'll bring up your comment here. I'll try and, if I can, 30 Bureau, I'll try and find an image and everything, and next time we stream, I'll do a comparison between what Jakar is writing in this episode and against some actual ancient Hebrew text and everything, maybe from the Torah. So, but anyway, so well, guys, great discussion as always and everything. I'm kind of sad that Koj and Zod couldn't be here, but I'm sure they'll catch it on the replay and everything. But thank y'all for being here today. I do want to let y'all know the reason why we rescheduled was because I have a job interview tomorrow morning and it's going to go well into the afternoon. So I didn't want to miss another week because we did miss a couple weeks ago. And we had the opportunity to stream today. And I want to thank everybody that tuned in today. I hope you all enjoyed the stream. And those of you that'll catch us on the replay, obviously, and as always, leave your comments down below and everything with anything that we brought up during our discussion that was of interest to you or just your own thoughts. Yeah, BR31, I will, like I said, next time we stream, and hopefully I'll plan on, provided nothing comes up, which I'm not foreseeing anything come up next week. We'll be back with our normal day and normal time and everything on Friday at 2:30 Central. And I'll make sure to have those images put together for you. But thank you all again for tuning in today, and those who will catch us on the replay. I hope you all enjoyed it, as always. So just a real quick thing. Saturday evening at 5:30 Central Time, I'll be going live because I'm going to be going dark here in a little bit, and I'm going to be doing my first watch through for Zack Snyder's Justice League, and looking forward to a great discussion there. And yeah. Look forward to having y'all tune in for that. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. It's been a busy couple of days. I do want to let y'all know real quick. Yesterday, me and Mother Ambassador had her doctor's appointment, and they've got her heart surgery scheduled for next month on the 13th of April, which is a Tuesday. So I will be sending out a proper message on social media, on Twitter, and so on, to give everybody an update on that for those who aren't here now. And I had a job interview today, and I've got one more tomorrow because I'm going to be transitioning to another employer. So, and looking forward to what the future holds for that. So, but that all being said, folks, you have a great day wherever you're at, and whatever time you're in, everything, whether you're, I'm sorry, it's been a busy day. I'm already tired. So anyway, y'all have a great one wherever you're at. And until next time, these are the ambassadors signing off.